This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Brandon Andrus Green.
Welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast Live. Are you looking for a way to help protect children and families from human trafficking before it ever happens? One local nonprofit is working to do exactly that. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing your good neighbor, Theresa Flores, with the Soap Project. Theresa, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Brandon?
Doing so well. We're excited to learn all about you and your work with Soap Project and really the impact you're making in human trafficking prevention. Will you tell us about Soap Project and what inspired you to start this important work?
Yeah. So the SOAP project stands for Save Our Adolescents from Prostitution. I was going around in around 2008, 2009, and sharing my story with the public, and people were really upset. They're like, "Why haven't we heard about this? What can we do?" And I was like, "I don't know what you can do. Don't buy people, don't go to strip clubs.
Right.
Really, truly protect your children." And check their beds every night, simple things. But then I realized one night that there was more people could do. There are a lot of victims are being sold in hotels and motels, and they don't know that there's a hotline number they can call. They don't even know what's happening to them. It's called human trafficking. And so I thought, well, we need to get this information out to them. When I was trafficked, there was no hotline, there was no name human trafficking, and I didn't know. And I really just wanted somebody to talk to in my worst hour. And so I thought, well, I could get people to help me put maybe some labels on a bar of soap, because we know that if you're being in a hotel and motel, generally that's the only time a victim is allowed alone, is those few moments after each man that they go into the bathroom to clean up. And so I thought, well, there's always a bar of soap. There's not always like shampoo and conditioner, but there's always a bar of soap because of Board of Health regulations. And so I'm like, what if we put this hotline number on there, and I can get people to help me? And I thought, we could do this. And then I learned that there's 1.3 million missing and runaway teenagers in our country. And I thought a lot of those teenagers are being trafficked, or they're being groomed to be trafficked. And I thought, well, who's getting those pictures out? Those pictures, those missing children's pictures used to be held in like Walmart, right when you walk in the post offices, like everywhere you'd see them on the milk cartons. And we don't see those anymore. And so I thought, well, what if we got these missing children's posters of kids missing from this area to the hotels, because they're seeing them coming and going possibly. So that's how SOAP was created, just in my basement as a grassroots nonprofit. I really consider it still a grassroots nonprofit, and just a few of us that do a lot.
Will you help me understand? So how did you even get into this in the first place?
So I am a survivor of human trafficking. I was trafficked as a teenager in a very upper middle class neighborhood outside of Detroit. I was very fortunate to escape that after 2 years. My family got relocated from Michigan to Connecticut, and that's when I started my healing process. But I still had no idea what had happened to me was called trafficking. It took until 2007 when I went to a conference as a professional and heard about human trafficking and learned what it looks like here in the United States. That was the moment I realized, oh, that's me. And so I was a social worker, and I started, it just kind of like, I don't know, it got into my bones. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. It got into my soul, like it was my calling. It was almost like God was saying, I have prepared you for this, Theresa. And so in 2007, I published my story, my memoir of what happened to me, and then just started speaking out, and people wanting to hear. Because back then, Brandon, there were maybe two of us nationwide that were sharing our story. I had no mentors, nobody. There were some academic people, but survivor wise, the one or two, and that was it. And our stories were very different. One of them was involved in street prostitution, and she was being trafficked by a pimp, and drugs, right, in California. My story didn't look anything like that. Another girl was more of like a high end escort, that had a madam that was forcing her to do it. So we all three of us had very different stories, and so I didn't really have anybody to lean on.
Well, what's one common myth or misconception about human trafficking that you personally wish more people understood?
Yeah, sometimes when I talk to people and they, ask me what I do, and I say I work in anti-human trafficking, they're like, "Oh, you mean prostitution?" And if they even know that much, usually it's like overseas. It's like, no, 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 right here. Um, it can look like prostitution, right? And so sex trafficking is always looks like prostitution, but prostitution isn't always human trafficking. But almost all the time it is. It's very, very high percentage. So I just wish people would understand that women and men that are being sold, right? They're being sold for sex. They're not doing it because they want to. They just don't know how to get out. They don't know any other options. Very few are doing it because they're choosing to do this. But even those ones, we believe, have had some trauma in their background. That's why they've basically chosen this, right? So yeah, I wish people would understand that, and that there's other kinds of trafficking. It's not just sex trafficking, right? We have a lot of labor trafficking, and so yeah, there's so many other kinds too.
We know that getting the word out is really the heart of what helps people find you. Where are the people and communities you most hope to reach out and support through all this advocacy?
Who do I help the most?
Mm-hmm.
I would say survivors. Oh gosh, or community members. I have maybe 50-50. We do have a lot of survivor programs that we offer to help support survivors. Like I said, I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have anybody to help me like, oh, this is what you need, Theresa. I had to figure it out on my own. I mean, I basically lived at the self-help aisle of Barnes and Noble for several years. Couldn't find a counselor that would listen to my story without crying and not know how to help me. So I winged it. And so now I'm very passionate about trying to help mentor other survivors and help make that healing process a little bit easier than what it was for me. And that looks different and for each person. We hold our wellness weekends, our retreats for survivors. We do emergency services like a hotel stay. I didn't have anybody to help me with new tires on my car, and so we help survivors with things like that. We're starting like a whole webinar series as well to help support survivors and educate them. A lot of survivors, Brandon, left school early, and they didn't, or they were being trafficked at night, like myself, and then weren't paying attention in school. They didn't have good parents to teach them how to write a thank you card. So our webinars that actually Kawami and I are starting are on how do you do a budget? How do you know anything about finances? Money is really hard for survivors due to the trauma. We're going to do a cooking classes because so many survivors don't know how to cook. We're really starting some more educational things for the survivors. So I would say like that is a big passion of mine. But then on the other hand, also, I think we make a lot of impact with just the regular person, the regular neighbor, right? To say, hey, come out here and label some soaps. Hey, listen to this, go to the hotels for us. And it gives people a sense of purpose, like, oh, I did that today. I labeled some soaps and I got them out to a hotel before the World Cup. Yay, So I think that what we do benefits a lot of people.
So is this just locally? Is this nationwide? Really, I'm trying to understand how you usually connect with these communities.
It's funny, people just find us a lot of times. They will Google me or, human trafficking organizations in Kansas City and, things like that. So I'm located in Columbus, Ohio. One of our staff members lives in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and our board is from all around. And so we are nationwide. So we work with people all throughout the country. We really, for our SOAP outreaches, target big events, and then we start a chapter up in that location. So say we had a lady that met me here in Columbus at an event. She actually lives in Boise, Idaho, and so she wanted to do a SOAP outreach before the stampede the river. So it was a big event, and so we taught her how to do an outreach, and now she's becoming a chapter, so she'll be doing it continually. So things like that, where it's just this organic way of people meeting us and wanting to help out. People really want to help stop this. So yeah, we do a lot of events. I speak a lot at different churches and universities, schools, and just to really spread the message. So anybody, we just meet people organically.
And have you ever thought about doing your own podcasts?
Yeah, I have. I want to talk to you about that later.
So outside of work, what do you do for fun?
For fun. So I play competitive bocce. So 2 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week, which isn't easy so that I have a bad back. But it's one thing that I really love is going outside and, playing bocce. And what else do we do? My husband and I play a lot of games, a lot of card games. We just love to hang around in the evening, have a glass of wine, play some cards. We travel a lot, so we like to also see the sights. My husband just retired, so when we were going to New Jersey for the World Cup, we took a couple extra days and went to Gettysburg and Atlantic City.
Nice.
So yeah, so we really enjoy traveling, and then I have a couple grandkids that I love to see in upstate New York. So.
Well, what's the most important thing you want our listeners to really remember about human trafficking and how even they can help?
Yeah. Really that saying, if you see something, say something, is really crucial. It's all around us. And the more that you get educated on the signs, the more you're going to see it. And so if you get that feeling inside of you, like that does not look right, say something. You can call the police if you see something that you think is dangerous, especially if it's a minor. Because if you're right, oh my gosh, you just helped stop this from happening to somebody. And I don't care if you're wrong. You know what I mean? If you call the police and say, can you check up on this person? I just don't think something's right. If you're wrong, it's okay. I would rather you be wrong, right, than have been right and missed it and not done anything. So I think we just need to get bolder. We need to get more outspoken about this. I've been doing this for almost 20 years, Brandon.
Wow.
And really, the neighbors, your neighbors, people who are listening to this neighbors, do they know what human trafficking is in the United States? Do they know the signs? We really need to get it on the news every night.
Well, how can listeners learn more about the SOAP project, get
Yeah.
involved, and support your mission?
So they can go onto our website, soapproject.org. And we also have a Facebook page and an Instagram page, same name. And they can see where we have chapters at already. It's on our website. If we have a chapter in their area, they can join up to help. If they want to do an outreach, if they've got a few people and they'd like to go out to the hotels, they can contact us and we can train them on how to do that. If they just want to sit around with some of their other neighbors or friends or church people and buy a case of makeup remover wipes or soaps and label them for us to give out, we can do that. We are a small nonprofit that does a lot. So donations really, really are our backbone. One retreat for survivors is about $30,000.
Wow.
Yeah. but you cannot put a number on that, that healing. We don't take survivors to, to campgrounds and be like in bunk beds. All right. We
Right.
want them to feel worthy. And so we go to nice places. And so, helping get donations for retreats, for our emergency services. Those are things that we can't do. We can't help out survivors unless we have donations to help do that. So we don't take federal funds. We've gotten some state grants in the past, but those are far and few between. So, yeah.
Well, Theresa, I really appreciate you being on this show. Really wish you and the Soap Project the best moving forward.
Thank you. Thanks for doing this, Brandon. It's always really great. It takes all of us. It takes a village to stop this and really protect our youth.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnptulsa.com. That's gnptulsa.com or call 918-301-6356.